Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Nanomix's channel, Mobile Diagnostics Without Compromise. Joining us, we always have the pleasure of David, the Chief Executive Officer. Welcome, sir.
Good to see you again. This is always nice to talk to you about our company. We're very excited about what we do and love being able to interact with you and your audience.
I really appreciate it as I kind of look forward to kind of divulging under the hood of Nanomix to get a better understanding of what you guys are doing as a business. And from my understanding, I mean, you guys are really shortening the diagnostics at the point of initial patient interaction. And I kind of want to explore this a little bit farther by breaking this down by basically piece by piece. So first and foremost, for people that might not understand your system itself, can you kind of break down the eLab system you have here?
Right. So the eLab system is first of all developed by us. It's a proprietary system. It includes all of our technology. The eLab system is comprised of an analyzer. You see that on the left side of the screen here, and a consumable cartridge. So it says there S1 panel. So the analyzer and the cartridge are both what we refer to as platform technologies. In other words, you can do multiple different tests using the same physical characteristics of this. So the eLab analyzer is designed for mobility and portability. The important premise here is that by pushing diagnostics out to the first point of patient contact with the healthcare system, that you get a better experience as a patient, and as a caregiver, you get immediate information. You don't have to wait to send the patient to a laboratory for testing. You don't have to wait for lab tests. So the whole idea here is around portability. And so the eLab instrument is first of all built to be very rugged and usable in many different kinds of environments. So it was originally designed as something that you could put in the back of an ambulance, take out to a field call, whether it's a roadside call or whether it's a home call. So highly durable and very easy to use. You can see on the screen, it's a touch screen oriented system. So it's very, very easy to use for our customers. The cartridges then are assay specific, and we can talk about, as we go through here, we can talk about a couple of the different tests that we have now. But that cartridge form factor includes some of our intellectual property in it, the sensor as well as the microfluidics, and each one of those is tailored to provide a set of answers, not just one, but a set of answers for a particular situation or a particular indication.
Now, kind of moving forward here, can you kind of just explain exactly what you're using these systems for today, maybe on the sepsis side of this, and we'll look at a few other facets as well.
Right. So the first product that we developed was really designed to jump on to the fundamental advantages of our system: accuracy, fast time to result, and mobility or portability. So what we did was we constructed an assay around critical infections. It includes sepsis, it includes hospitalizable pneumonia and other kinds of things. The important piece here, particularly in sepsis, is that the earlier you diagnose and begin treatment for a septic patient, the better their outcome is. So the statistics say for every hour you wait to administer therapy, the increase in mortality is 8%. So we are talking about something here that is very, very time critical. So what we did was develop an assay that provides some of the key attributes of the patient for the physician so that they can make their decision very rapidly on what to do about the patient. So generally, you're looking at something that's maybe referred to as like the golden hour. You want to analyze these decisions. You want to analyze these patients, make decisions, and then begin treatment or move them off to a different a set of care objectives. And you want to do that generally in an hour. The assays that we provide on here, we provide lactate, which is a measure of tissue perfusion and how well your body is handling basically liquids. Then C-reactive protein, which is a measure of inflammation in your system, and then procalcitonin, which is a measure of infection, bacterial infection in particular. Other than lactate, you can get a lactate answer now in a clinical situation. You get that answer probably in a half an hour. CRP and procalcitonin, the two things that really relate to the level of infection and inflammation, take sometimes hours. There is no real rapid test available for those items. So we're taking these three different assays, combining them from one sample into a test that provides three different answers, and that test runtime is 11 minutes. So this is all designed to fit into that rapid decision making that a healthcare provider has to make around the individual.
This is incredibly in-depth. Beyond that, which is already a huge aspect, I mean, you guys have found ways to get this involved in the current pandemic. Are you guys looking to expand into other facets of this technology's capabilities within the healthcare space? Not that, I mean, what you're doing already seems like a huge market capability, but is there anything beyond?
Well, sepsis, in terms of market size, it's
It's huge.
gigantic.
Yeah.
Millions of people die every year. It's in the U.S. system. I think it's a $40 billion cost burden. So sepsis and hospitalizable pneumonia are really important. We have done some work. We do have a CE marked antigen test from a nasal swab that's available into the CE marked communities. And we are working on other aspects of tests that fit into this whole paradigm of needing very, very fast response time. So for example, just before the pandemic hit, we did a prototype feasibility study with a university hospital here in California that was done in combination with the U.S. military. They were very concerned about how do they get rapid information about acute kidney injury in deployed soldiers or personnel. A lot of times that happens from accidents, explosion devices, those kinds of things. But it's also a big problem in terms of patient management in hospitals as well. So we did a feasibility study there. The data looked really, really good. Our clinical partner, the University Hospital, estimated that with the system, they would be able to reduce the time to diagnosis for an acute kidney injury event by 1.5 days, which is really fundamental when you're talking about managing kidney and kidney related kinds of issues. So we're going to continue to focus on these high value, high patient impact tests. And then, as we grow this platform, again, it's a platform, so we can add many, many, many different kinds of tests. So we may go down the women's health arena. We may go down the arena of chronic and acute disease monitoring, those kinds of things. But everything we do, we think about not having to have a patient in the hospital. We want to get that patient as soon as they're symptomatic, as soon as they have an issue. We want to push that information gathering point out as far as possible and get that information back to the healthcare provider in a fraction of the time that it currently takes.
Now, kind of just stepping back and taking a broad view perspective for somebody that might just be strolling into this video, how is the rollout of this device going? What markets are you trying to hit here first? Are you having any of the supply chain issues that obviously many people are seeing with chip shortages and things of that nature? Just give us kind of a broad view perspective here.
Right. So we are currently CE marked for the critical infection panel. It is now being tested and evaluated in a couple of different customer installations, one of which is in the UK, where they're looking at using the product to pre-screen patients for sepsis prior to bringing them into the emergency department or the hospital, trying to cut down again on the amount of time that it takes to interact with the patient. We're also doing a test with a a very large emergency department in Madrid, around the idea of screening potentially infectious people as they come into the emergency department. It's a huge hospital, 400 emergency department admissions a day. And they're looking at and evaluating this product to to bring it into that that care process that they use. We expect to start another evaluation with that same distributor in Barcelona. We now have an active distributor where we've rolled out product in Israel, and we're now building product to ship to distributor in Singapore, Ireland, the Philippines, and also Korea. So our go-to-market is to utilize people who are already selling products to hospitals that are similar to this. They have the credibility, at the hospital to know that they're bringing quality product to the hospital. So that credibility and that link to the customer is really essential for us. So we're working on building the distributor relationships and then building off of that to the customers. In terms of production, it's sort of like knock on wood, right? We haven't had any real supply chain issues at this point in time. We were a little worried during the COVID, the height of the COVID crisis, about reagents, basically the biology that we use for, making our tests work. But we've been able to get everything that we have. We source most of our product in the US or in Europe. We do have some sourcing of plastic parts in Singapore, and we do have a little bit of reagent sourcing out of China, but so far that's been good. We have a couple of really solid manufacturing partners who help us. And then here in San Leandro, California, we do the personalization of the product and the final packaging and shipping. So, we feel like we're in pretty good shape right now in supply chain.
I think this has been incredibly insightful. I mean, you guys are looking to uplist as well to the OTCQB, but I think when we come back around, we'll dive a little bit farther into the financials, get a little bit of guidance on what you guys plan on, what the forward-looking, any kind of information you'd have just to give us a little bit of guidance moving forward, and we'll get into cap structure and things like that. But on that note, I want to pass the question off to the viewers because we'd love to know what you guys think about all of this in that comment section below. Consider subscribing because as news comes down the wire, of course, we'll update you here. But on that note, stay cool, stay awesome, and as always, I look forward to catching you in the next one.